Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Outcomes Rocket. I'm excited to be hosting Komeil Nasrollahi today. He is the Senior Director of Innovation and Venture Partnerships at Siemens Healthineers. You guys don't know Siemens Healthineers. They're one of the world's largest medical device companies, and he leads a global initiative to identify, evaluate, and scale emerging technologies in collaboration with startups, VC firms, and more. The way the ecosystem works is fabulous. And someone like Komeil, I love chatting with them because they tend to keep their eye on the ball and kind of what's happening the latest in medtech. So Komeil, thanks for joining us today. Excited for our conversation.
Hi, Sal. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me today. Looking forward to it.
Of course. And look, I've been following Siemens Healthineers for a long time, even before the Healthineers came in. So definitely a big fan of the company and the quality products you produce and the engineering behind it all. For you, Komeil, what inspires your work in the business?
I think the healthcare specifically is more on the impact we're making on the patient life and people's life. Making sure that the end user, our end user of doctors or the clinician, they have the right tools in the right time to diagnose the patient, to come up with a effective treatment plan and treat them so they can live a healthier life. So that's kind of get me super excited and inspire me. It's not just, one company, obviously, it's not just one, healthcare system, it's a very collaborative environment, but playing a tiny role in it is very inspiring, at least for me, making sure, we have that impact, the positive impact.
Yeah, totally, man. And you kind of gravitated to a company that has a very large footprint, and the decisions you make can impact probably millions of lives.
Right. Yeah, right. You're right. So again, we have legal entities in 80 plus countries, but we sell in 180 countries. So it's like almost impossible to go to a country or, healthcare system that do not use one of our equipment, or their entire thing is not their Siemens equipment.
Well, you're in an important role, Komeil. And so the job that you do makes a big difference for the company, but also patients. Talk to us a little bit about how you believe Siemens Healthineers adds value to the healthcare ecosystem.
Sure. So again, at company level, the high level, we are very committed to pioneering breakthrough in healthcare for everyone, everywhere, sustainably. And what this means is through all of our businesses. So we have around 10 business units, from a lot of our imaging diagnostic businesses like MRI, CT scans, nuclear medicine, imaging, ultrasound, X-ray. So, we make all those equipment. We have factories across the world that makes those equipment. Then we have lab diagnostic business. So anything goes to central labs and any blood tests, those kind of reagent and the equipment that do the blood test, and patient get the result from it. And also a couple of years ago, we acquired a company in California. It's called Varian. Varian is the biggest radiation therapy company in the world. So now they're part of Siemens. So now we're not just in the diagnostic side, we're also in the cancer therapy side too. So how we do differently, it goes back and forth. So again, for we, to start with, we are a big company. We've been around for 180 years almost, right? So we're building the stuff for 180 years. So by default, we are an engineering company that we are very, very good at building the stuff and bring it to the market for consistently for almost 180 years, right? And this is unheard of. And there's not so many companies can claim they have that track record, but we do. But we also, at the same time, we understand we have a ton of people in the R&D. We spend a lot of money on R&D. We have very smart engineers that are building this stuff all the time. But we also, at the same time, we understand all the innovation cannot happen internally, right? There's more innovation outside Siemens than inside Siemens, right? So there's so many smart people. There's so many good startups, early stage company. They're having, they're coming up with this breakthrough technology. They have the stuff that they're building. They're really changing the way the patient get diagnostic, the patient get treatments. So we want to work with them. We want to say, hey, we have that distribution channel. We have a network with working with the doctors, with clinicians, with hospitals, with healthcare systems across the globe. So maybe if you have a solution that makes sense for us, is get our customer excited, we want to help you to get it to their hands faster. So we want to be kind of that highway to bring those innovation, not just internally, but also externally to the market.
That's fantastic. Hey, Komeil, did I miss you at AdvaMed? Did you go to the conference this year?
No, I wasn't there, but I was at Health in Vegas 2 weeks ago.
Oh, so I missed you there.
You were there too?
All right.
Okay. All right.
Oh, wow.
Then we miss each other. Yeah.
Komeil, I don't know about you, man, but diagnostics was bigger than ever there this year.
Yeah. So I spent 2 days just on so Sunday was a lot of panel discussion, and I had a ton of meeting there. But on a Monday, I was there and left end of the day. Monday, I was on the floor the entire day. I was going to boost to boost. On the startup side, especially again, there's some of them, a lot of, big boosters, big companies. But if you go on the startup side, they have just one table. And those are the one I got super excited. So I spend most of my time just talking with those guys, see what they're doing, what they're building. So I made a couple of good connections and obviously a bunch of good follow-up.
That's great, man. Well, we'll have to make it a point to connect that at one of these next ones for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So talk to me, and thank you for outlining the thesis, right? It's not just diagnostics anymore on the radiology as well as the lab side, but now you're also offering therapy delivery, which is massive, right? Like to be able to just do more with what you diagnose. Tell us about how Siemens Healthineers is doing things differently than is already being done out there.
So again, as I said, on the cancer therapy side, so we have a division now, a business unit as Variant is for radiation therapy, right? So anything on the radiation therapy side, we offer that to the patient, to clinicians. But you're talking about, that whole innovation ecosystem and how Siemens does and how we are, different than others. What we're trying to do is, we understand, as I said, we understand that we have a very strong R&D flow that coming, they're building a lot of stuff. But on the same time, we understand we cannot innovate everything. There's so many good companies out there. So my team and I will try to focus on bringing that bridge, right? How could we bring those innovation in the market that internally we don't spend any time on it, or is not as important or critical to us? How could we bring those innovation internally and also to the customer hands? So kind of bridging that gap being between the enterprise and the startups, and how connecting these two together so they have a better outcome for patients, we have more innovation in the markets for clinicians.
That's great, man. I really appreciate that. And look, my next question is about setbacks. Obviously, we can all look in the rearview mirror and say disparaging things about companies like Theranos and things like that, right? But like when you think about setbacks in the space, what's a key learning that you've learned that has really created either a North Star for you as an investor or, in the work that you do?
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about that Theranos thing you mentioned. Obviously, we always talk about it, right? But what I learned about that, so at the same time that whole thing was happening, so we were looking at a lot of companies, and there were other companies, and they all still exist. They had the kind of similar solution at what they were working. But that person, that whole Theranos, took the kind of the spotlight from everybody and kind of put a bad taste in everybody's mouth. All the investors said nobody wanted to touch that space, touch that topic, right? But I saw companies that I knew companies, and they still exist, that they have similar solution, working, has FDA, does everything that Theranos trying to do, but they couldn't do. But going back to your question, the feedback, I'm a 2 times kind of founders, right? So I had 2 companies before. One of them did very well. The other one did not very well. So I get super excited, especially when it's come to the startups. I love spending time with the founders. I love to understand, what problems you're trying to solve. So sometimes I get super excited. Sometimes even more excited than them. So the one thing I learned about this, it was a very humbling experience too. We were looking at the solution, the startups, I cannot name it now, but very good startups. They had a very good AI solution on the diagnostic side, and they were solving some problems. So our team got super excited. So we kind of rushed it to the market. We tried to bring it to the market faster because we saw a lot of upside from it. But what we missed was basically it was missing that integration in the current existing workflow of the clinician. So it was another step. It was actually a couple more steps for clinician to get out of their whatever software they were using, go to their software, try input all the information, and come back to see if it does match what they had there. So it was extra couple of steps for the people who don't have much time. So they never got to scale. They never got to use it. And what I learned from it was that, again, is a partnership, right? It's not just about enterprise and the startup partnership. It was enterprise, the startups, and the clinician, the end user, who's going to use this, right? So having their input, having kind of gaining their trust that, hey, we're not adding extra step for you, but whatever it is fit in your existing workflow. That, again, that was a lesson I learned from it.
Yeah, Komeil, I love that, man. We could get enamored with solutions and the tech and forget about the end user and the end-to-end user, the clinician and the patient. Mm. So I think that's a really great lesson to pull out and share with us. Without saying AI.
That's impossible, but sure.
On my next question, without saying AI, what's one healthcare trend or technology that you believe is going to change healthcare as we know it?
2 things, but they're related to each other. So one is a digital twin, and the other one is personal care. So a lot of people talk about, personal care, personal medicine, and all this kind of stuff. But I think, having digital twin and underlying it is a personal care, it will change healthcare the way we know it. So right now, as a patient, if you go to a doctor, if you do a chest x-ray, if you do a CT, if you do MRI on your brain, any other part of the body, you do the blood test. So there's a ton of information that your doctors, your team of care have around you as a patient. But putting all this stuff together, but also adding genomics, right? What is in your genomics? What are your genes, right? Adding all of this together. So building your digital twin, that will change because it's not just one or two good information. It's a smart data, but all connected data. So they help the clinician to come up with a personal solution for you, personal diagnosis, personal treatment. That's something that we right now is missing.
That's cool, man. I love the idea. Definitely. Maybe we do a part 2 on digital twins.
Yeah, I would love that. Yeah.
Love that. What are you guys hearing on digital twins? We share these episodes on LinkedIn, the small clips. I want to hear from you all. What are you hearing on digital twins? That's an area that I think we got to dig in deeper. Let us know what you think. And so, Komeil, really just kind of bringing us home with this. This has been a really fun conversation. What thought would you leave our listeners with on how they should be thinking about healthcare as we go into 2026? Maybe it's Komeil's predictions for 2026. And then where can they find you at Siemens Healthineers to learn more?
Sure. So I wouldn't say Komeil 2026, but I think in general, generally speaking about, healthcare is a very collaborative space, right? You have to work with other stakeholders. It's not just, in the finance industry or, in other, manufacturing. So healthcare, like as I said, you need companies like enterprise like us who has the scale, who has that distribution, who has the channels, right? Then you need the startups that always come up with a good solution. They always, they're very nimble, right? They're very quick. They build this stuff, very resourceful. Then also you need the doctors, you need the clinician. You also need the people, the patient, how much impact you're making on the patient. Now, how much patient are engaged with you, right? Then you need the government, for the approval, for the regulatory, sometimes for funding. So it's a very collaborative space that the magic happens when all the parts work together or support each other. Again, at Siemens, we try to do our part to be more open to outside collaboration, to work with the startups. And we do a lot with the governments across the world, right? We do a lot with the communities, making sure that people have access to care, through some of the programs that we have. But again, that collaboration, I think, is where the magic happens. And for next question, you ask how they can find me. So I'm on LinkedIn. There are not so many Komeil Nasrollahi on LinkedIn. So if you put Komeil Nasrollahi, I'm probably the first one who shows up and the only one. I'm very engaging there, talking to a lot of startups. I put a post there, again, to get the community to talk more with each other, talking about, again, all the stuff I mentioned. But yeah, people can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm always happy to chat.
Outstanding. Komeil, really appreciate that. Folks, it's a team sport. And the way we bring innovations to market, the way we scale better care is, as Komeil shared, it's a community team sport effort. In the show notes, you'll find Komeil's LinkedIn as well as the Siemens Healthineers, so you can find out what they're up to. It's been such a pleasure to have Komeil Nasrollahi as part of our podcast. He's the Senior Director of Innovation and Venture Partnerships at Siemens Healthineers. Komeil, thanks for joining with us.
Oh, thanks for having me. We should get together sometime soon, hopefully in person.
Let's do it.
All right. Thanks, man.